This is the LAFC Science of Soccer STEM Showcase webinar. This program is made possible by the sponsorship from Toyota and the collaboration of various elementary and middle schools around Los Angeles. My name is Ricardo Valerdi, and I'm with the Science of Sport. Please follow us on social media, on Twitter and Instagram, for updates on various events and programs that we have going on around the country. The objective of this webinar is to share with you the purpose of the upcoming LAFC Science of Soccer STEM Showcase and provide some ideas on projects that we would like your students to work on and bring to the STEM Showcase in the future. The STEM Showcase has two objectives. The first is for your students to demonstrate what they've learned through their participation in the program. And the second is for your students to participate in some hands-on activities to learn more about the connection between soccer and STEM. In this presentation, we're going to provide you with some examples and some ideas for projects. The 5 projects that we're going to share with you relate to the Science of Soccer curriculum and the kit that was provided to the teachers who attended the professional development training at the Bank of California Stadium. Project number 1 is air pressure, and I'll explain that further in just one moment. Project number 2 has to do with students designing their own soccer stadium. Project number 3 is penalty kicks. Project 4, physiology and heart rate. And project 5 has to do with students designing their own road trip, but also looking at questions of fuel efficiency of Toyota vehicles. Some examples of past projects that we've worked on for other teams in other cities include the Atlanta Braves STEM Showcase that took place a couple of months ago. And I wanted to show you this photo because it captures the objective of a day like we are working on with LAFC, which is a group of students showing the adults. They could either be from the team or from the community or fans. They're showing these adults what they've learned in their project. And our approach is going to be very similar in terms of having tables and area for students to display their trifold posters, as you see here in the photo. More specifically, one of the projects that I really liked from a recent event is where a student actually built a device to test the distance that a ball would travel through the air. And they captured a lot of other related topics like the stadium, like the merchandise, like the design of their device, and brought it to the STEM Showcase to show others. Another good example is also in the trifold poster format, where a student set up an experiment, very much like your classical science fair project. And in the experiment, they identified the independent variables and the dependent variables and the list of materials and the various designs that were considered, and then presented this information at the STEM Showcase. So this is the kind of end result that we're aiming for, except for the LAFC program, we're going to provide you with some ideas for soccer-themed projects. You will be receiving this document by email that provides specific guidelines and projects for the LAFC Science of Soccer STEM Showcase. What I'd like to do now is go through these projects in a little bit more detail for your benefit. So project number 1 has to do with air pressure. And this really leverages the items in the teacher kit, which is the air pump, the soccer balls, the tape measures, and items like that. And the objective is for students to set up an experiment where they are measuring the effects of air pressure on the distance that the ball travels. We've provided a table very similar to the one in the curriculum that provides students with the ability to set up 3 different soccer balls at 3 different air pressures, kick those soccer balls multiple times, and then measure the distance that they travel. Another project has to do with designing their own stadium. And in this project, we're providing all the resources for existing Major League Soccer stadiums, but we would also like students to research the LAFC Stadium, which is the Bank of California Stadium. There's a procedure for the students to look at some of the history behind some of these stadiums, but also answer specific questions that have to do with the unique architectural features of the stadium that they are thinking of, the seating capacity, the number of bathrooms, the amount of parking, the food. And what we would like the students to do is to come up with a design that they can visually demonstrate, either as a 3-dimensional model, like is shown here in this picture, or just a simple 2-dimensional drawing that they can then put on the trifold poster. The third project has to do with penalty kicks, and this really focuses on the equation of scoring percentages, which is the number of goals divided by the number of shots multiplied by 100. And we would like the students to learn is not only how to track their percentage, but also how to correctly kick a soccer ball. And there are a variety of resources here that include videos, but also a procedure that encourages students to measure the distance between the soccer goal line and the penalty kick line, which is 12 yards, but that's assuming that they're using a goal that is 8 yards wide. If students are using a smaller goal, then they need to shorten the penalty kick distance in order to make it fair for the kicker and the goalie. And one interesting thing for the students to explore is whether they get better results kicking with their right foot versus their left foot. Here we've provided a table that students can use to capture their results from this activity. If they kick 10 goals and they have it at a certain distance, this table allows them to capture how many were successful and how many were unsuccessful, and then utilize this information to calculate the scoring percentage. The fourth project is Physiology and Heart Rate, and this utilizes the heart rate monitor in the kit, and also gives students an opportunity to collect some data for themselves, but also for their classmates across a variety of activity levels. And the end result is actually the completion of this this 2-dimensional chart, which has on the x-axis various activity levels, and on the y-axis their heart rate reading on the heart rate monitor, which is in pulses per minute. And the expectation is that the increasing intensity of the activity will result in higher heart rate as measured by the heart rate monitor, or which can be measured in the traditional way of using your fingers on your wrist or fingers on your neck. Finally, the fifth option has to do with road trips, and this is an opportunity for students to apply more advanced concepts of miles per gallon and compare various options for pursuing a road trip. And the distances that we're recommending are from the LAFC Stadium, which is Bank of California Stadium, to two other MLS stadiums in Dallas and Chicago, which are the Toyota Stadium and Toyota Park. And this provides students an opportunity to learn about distances, but also to apply their knowledge of fuel efficiency. And there's a list of fuel-efficient cars provided by Toyota, and what students need to do is select two cars and compare the cost of gasoline that it would take for each car to make the trip from Bank of California Stadium to Toyota Stadium in Dallas and Toyota Park in Chicago. So the procedure is laid out here, but in order to accomplish this, in step 2 of the procedure, it is noted that students must select two Toyota vehicles. So this is a screenshot of the Toyota website, and there are many options available, not only these, but these are just the first 4. There's a Toyota Camry, for instance, that has 29 miles per gallon fuel efficiency for the city and 41 miles per gallon fuel efficiency for the highway. And so students need to use that information to compare the Camry to any other car that they select, not limited to these 4, but there are others, other Toyota vehicles that are available for analysis. So again, we hope that these projects help focus your energy and your students' energy in the STEM showcase that's coming up. And if these are not sufficient for your students' interests, we encourage you to select other projects that help make the connection between soccer and STEM. We look forward to the final projects, and we are anxious to see your students' creativity, and we will provide you with our contact information in case you have any additional questions throughout the process. Thank you, and see you soon.